You to call in on the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You got a question or a comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper. Write it down so you're well organized, and we're getting on the show. You take as little time as possible so we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything that we deem that's not within our broadcast standards. But we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. You can also follow our live video stream of this program on our Facebook page at Vaughan Radio or YouTube channel Vaughan Radio. Click subscribe. Tonight we've got two segments of the program. The first segment, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism in the Nevis Island Administration. We're pleased to have with us this evening Mr. John Hanley. Mr. Hanley, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo. It is certainly my pleasure to be joining you on the show this evening.
Because you've been here every now and then through the years, and we appreciate that. Sometimes in different roles, right?
Correct.
Okay, and you're here tonight under the tourism role, Ministry of Tourism, correct?
That is absolutely correct. Webbo.
And then specifically which area?
Well, I'm here tonight to promote Restaurant Week, the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week.
Okay, so let's let me start by asking you, because a lot of times we take things for granted. What is Restaurant Week? What is it designed to do?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. So the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week, it began about 10 years ago, way back in 2015. And the objective, well, it has several objectives. First and foremost, it promotes eating local and living local. And it encourages people to consume our local. We have very good local produce. We have wonderful vegetables, and they're very fresh, they're rich, they're organic, and so we encourage people to eat more local. And persons have expressed a greater interest in eating local because it is a shift that people are taking these days towards a healthier lifestyle. So we encourage people to be more healthy in the way that they eat, and we also encourage people to support the local farmers so that we keep the money in the economy. When we buy our produce from Puerto Rico and from Miami and so on, we are sending money out of the country. But through Restaurant Week, we are encouraging persons to eat what is grown right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And let's be honest, Webbo, quite often what we grow here tastes a lot better. The taste profile is a lot better because of our rich volcanic soil and because it is grown organically. Every year we feature different local ingredients. As I can recall, the very first one way back in 2015 was breadfruit, and we have changed it to the year. We have had plantain, yam, coconut, pumpkin, sweet potato, pineapple. Last year it was papaya, and this year the special ingredient being focused on happens to be tamarind. So every year we pick a special local ingredient, and that local ingredient is what the chefs will focus on, and so the dishes and the cocktails, etc., will focus heavily on that particular ingredient. The second objective of Restaurant Week is that it stimulates, from an economic point of view, our local eateries. We have some of the best restaurants and our little shops that sell food, and we know that we have a seasonal nature of our tourism industry. So what is traditionally considered to be the slow season, we have chosen that time to stimulate economic activity so that our local restaurants, our local eateries will have more business during that period of time. And thirdly, we have realized over the years that our chefs are very creative. So Restaurant Week gives them the opportunity to showcase that creativity. I remember the year that we had yam, and some of the chefs were a bit intimidated because, as you know, Webbo, yam is a very bland tasting vegetable. But when I went to to some of the events and visited some of the restaurants, and I saw the wide variety of savory and dessert dishes that they were able to produce from what everybody thinks is a very bland ingredient. It was truly amazing. So our chefs are very creative, and when they put their minds to work, we are surprised at the versatility of the ingredients and the wide variety of dishes that they're able to create. Fourthly, Restaurant Week is a grand celebration of our rich and vibrant culinary heritage. So it's a very important part of our heritage. So it tells the story. For example, when we featured coconut, we were able to feature things like conky and so on, and the cassava bread that has the coconut in it. So it tells us, when we have Restaurant Week, it tells us the sort of creativity and the stories, the richness of our heritage. And our final objective is that we want to foster our linkages between our local restaurants and our farmers, because our farmers produce very good produce, which I've established earlier, but we want to make sure that they have a ready market for their produce. So when the restaurants go out of their way and they exercise this creativity and come up with these dishes, then the demand for local produce increases, and the local farmers are guaranteed of a steady market for their produce. So these are the objectives for Restaurant Week. It is essentially a time of the year during the slow season when we try to promote our local produce, and we showcase the creativity of our chefs, and we focus on a particular ingredient. And we also give our patrons an opportunity to have an excellent local dining experience.
So we've been doing this for about a decade.
Correct.
And you just stated a number of enterprising objectives, I would say. How have we been doing in relation to those objectives?
I have seen quite a lot of success in that regard. For one thing, the number of restaurants that are participating or have been participating over the years has steadily increased. Well, you would know, Webbo, that a lot of times when we try to start something new in Davis, people are skeptical at first. And in the first year, there were only 3 restaurants that participated. Well, that was before I came on board. When I came on board, I realized the importance of this. So I pushed it really hard, and we got 11 restaurants. So over the years, it has kept growing and growing. And today, I have with me a list that says that some 28 restaurants will be participating. And that's just Nevis alone. Mm-hmm. We have even more that are participating on St. Kitts. So we have seen the interest grow over the period of time. And I also indicated earlier that people are interested in trying new and different things. And one of the benefits I've seen for the restaurants is that some of the dishes that they've created specifically for Restaurant Week, they've been so successful that they have become a staple part of the menu of the restaurants. So even long after Restaurant Week, they have incorporated these recipes into their main menu. So we have indeed seen some success in terms of Restaurant Week.
Is it helping? Is it helping in the overall major industry that we do, expanding the interest and of course the economic base of tourism?
It is, because we have been using this vehicle to let our not only our visitors but our locals know that we have a very rich culinary product on the island. Restaurant Week, one of the things I didn't mention is that it places the menus at a reasonable cost. So there's a fixed price tier which has been in place since the start of Restaurant Week actually. So some restaurants will sell their menus at a fixed price of 60 US, some 40, some 20, and there's some that just offer lunch specials. And the reason why these reduced prices have been offered is because we want to make it affordable to as many persons as possible. Persons who are just curious, or persons who have different types of celebrations. That's a great opportunity for them to go out. Also, Restaurant Week takes place very close to, or in some years, as in this year, within Culturama. And as you know, there are a lot of persons are coming home for Culturama. And this is an excellent opportunity for them to sample our cuisine, for them to reminisce on what used to be, and also for them to savor the new creations that have been improvised by our restaurants.
They also, I wanted to know, John, in reference, I don't know if you're keeping any data or anything, but apart from the Ministry of Tourism, the overall successive governments have tried to encourage persons to buy local produce. One of the drawbacks you hear concerning that, though, is that it costs more to eat local, though it is argued it's healthier. Do we know if, data-wise, we're seeing any help in that regard? So the people who are thinking that eating local is more expensive?
Well, eating healthy on the whole is generally more expensive, but you can be guaranteed of a healthier quality, because a lot of times what we import has a lot of pesticides, and quite frankly, we have no idea what they use, the hormones and what have you, that they use to grow the crops and to rear the animals that are used to get the meat, the chicken and the lamb chops and what have you, that we import. On the island, we know exactly what is going into the crops, and so we are guaranteed of that quality. It might be a little more expensive in some cases because we don't have the economies of scale that the bigger countries would have. When I speak of economies of scale, I mean that because they can grow it on acres and acres of land, the cost per unit is a lot less. So we may not be able to compete in terms of the price because we don't have the economies of scale. However, we can compete any day in terms of the quality of our product. And it is probably a bit more expensive upfront to eat healthy in general. It is not cheap, but on the other hand, it's either you spend money on healthy food or you spend money on the doctor. So one has that choice to make.
Well, maybe in our second segment we can take up this part of the discussion and argue whether or not it shouldn't be costing, maybe if not a lot less, maybe something less in terms of the other costs associated with bringing that same cheap product here. But we perhaps can get into it a little later. But the other thing I would perhaps like to know, and perhaps the folks who are listening, is some of the other details where this specific restaurant concerned. Restaurant Week.
Okay, so you basically asked me how does it work?
Yes.
Okay, so we reached out to these restaurants, and essentially what we asked them to do was to prepare a menu that featured the local ingredient, which, as I indicated, was tamarind. And we got 28 of them to agree. And I don't think you want me to list all of them, but I could probably pick about maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
And go
that's fine, yeah.
All right, so we have Montpelier Plantation, Four Seasons, specifically Under June. We have 2 restaurants from Four Seasons that are participating, Under June and Mango. We have Queen City, Yachtsman Grill, Chill Bar, Zanzi, Turtle Time, Mojo's, Barefoot, Drift, Luna, Buddies, that's Buddies Downtown, Nuts Bar and Snacket, Tanya's Jamaican Snacket and Bar, Indian Summer, Mount Nevis, Passions Bar and Grill, Sensations, Golden Rock, Indian Summer on the Rocks, Level Up, Hermitage Inn, Sunshine Beach Bar, Eclipse Bar and Lounge, Wally Beach Resort, and Rodney's Cuisine. So these are listed on the Restaurant Week website. So if you would like to see the list of restaurants that have agreed to participate, as well as the menu, just in your browser type in restaurantweek.kn, and that will lead you to the website, the national website for Restaurant Week, and you'll be able to see what is offered by each of these.
Right, and that week begins when?
So Restaurant Week runs from the 17th, so that's 2 days from now, Thursday the 17th of July, and it goes down until Sunday the 27th of July.
And the special, those participating restaurants have certain dishes that you can get during that restaurant week.
Correct.
And also there is what we call it, a cap price on the dish.
That is correct.
No, $60 I heard you say or something like that.
So the top for the Restaurant Week specific menu is $60. So whether you go to Four Seasons or Montpelier or Hermitage, the top price, once you tell them that you're there specifically for the Restaurant Week menu, then it would be $60 US.
Oh really? So that's the code?
Yes.
That I'm here for Restaurant Week?
Yes.
If I go and I don't say that,
then they might present you with their regular menu.
I see. But that's very interesting. What else we have in terms of Restaurant Week, as far as I know, is more than and involve more people than those who actually go to have lunch, for instance. So the rest of the public can participate in different things that you have, right? Correct?
Well, there's a calendar of events. Let me highlight a few of them. Day before yesterday, that's on Sunday, we would have had the tasting showcase, the St. Kitts tasting showcase. I was at the Eco Park, and at the tasting showcase, that is where we had some of the participating restaurants would have offered some of the dishes on their menu, and so the general public, those who bought tickets, were able to come in and sample those dishes. On Nevis, we were intending to have the tasting showcase, but because of logistics, we have decided to shelve that. Okay, so that was the first event. On Saturday the 19th, Queen City Bar and Grill there in Charlestown will be having an R&B tamarind brunch, and the cost is only $175. That's a special event or a signature event, and they will be featuring tamarind themed dishes and bottomless mimosas, I'm told. So tickets are available for that signature event, so one and all are invited to that particular event. And St. Kitts has a number of events, such as Cook, Sip and Lamp, which is on the 20th, a karaoke event on the 23rd, and Restaurant Week will culminate on in terms of events, will culminate on the 26th with Grill Fest. Grill Fest will be held on the Frigate Bellon on Saturday the 26th. And what that is, basically, it's a barbecue competition and also an amateur mixology competition. And the competition will be in 4 categories. It will be chicken, fish, pork, and lobster. So the chefs will be competing, they will present their dishes to the chefs, and they will be judged based on various set criteria. And even though these chefs are taking part in the cooking competition or the grilling competition, they will also be offering their dishes to the general public. Usually they have at least 3,000 people at this event, so it's a pretty big event there on St. Kitts. So all persons who are interested, that's Saturday the 26th at the Frigate Bellon. When I speak of the Frigate Bellon, I'm talking about right next to that roundabout just after you come down from the Kennedy Simmons Highway. That is where it is, very close to Timothy Beach Resort. But here on Nevis, I certainly encourage one and all to go to the various restaurants and patronize them and savor the creative dishes that have been presented.
Okay, John, so what else we got in wrapping up? And I needed to ask you your permission to ask you something else after you finish with this area.
I just want to end off by reiterating the objectives of Restaurant Week. I want to encourage one and all to support the various restaurants. Eat local, support local business, and also have yourself an engaging and tasteful culinary experience.
All right, very good. And under the Ministry of Tourism, John, I just wanted to ask you, with your permission, how we're doing with the bad stream. We've had right here in this program, there was some suggestions and complaints about the whether it was losing its heat and stuff like that. You aware of that?
I have had some complaints in the last several days, but we have been keeping records of the temperatures, and our records are showing that the temperatures are consistently around 105 degrees Fahrenheit. However, we are doing all that we can in terms of making sure that we maintain our schedule, our regular schedule of cleaning of the baths. Any fluctuation may be due to changes in the weather or fluctuations in groundwater, etc. But our data that we have kept over time of the temperature records suggests that the temperatures are essentially consistent.
Okay, I wanted to bring that up and ask you because without knowing that you were scheduled to be on the show this evening, and we had done some investigations on our own because we've had the discussion here, and we were knowledgeable of the average temperature over the past years. And we thought that the most objective and scientific way was to gather the data, the current data in terms of the temperature. And we found exactly that the current temperature, of course they have an average, there's a fluctuation I understand somewhere between 103 and 107. And I got this data from a gentleman who years ago used to take the temperature on a daily basis, sometimes weekly, at the bad stream, sometimes when I'm there. So from curiosity, I'd inquired. And now I went and inquired what the current data is in terms of temperature, and I found it's basically the same thing. I don't know whether or not, John, whether your ministry, under the leadership of yourself, had done a good enough publicity, done enough marketing job, because I find that a lot of people was running with that there was this great problem.
Okay, well, we wanted to make sure that we had the data first. So we made sure that we did some careful checks and some extra measurements because it is, when it comes to temperature, unless you're using instruments to measure, it can be very subjective. One lady came there, people have been saying that it is too cool, and on the other hand, one lady came there the other day and said it is absolutely too hot, and recommended that we put water in the spring and or ice or something like that. So
they cool it down.
Yes. So there's a lot of subjectivity. So that is why I started off my response by saying, we have to base our response on scientific, on empirical evidence. So when we have the data set that says the temperature is relatively constant around 105, well, you indicated that your independent research said between 100 and 300, 107.
Yeah, it has a range based on even what you said. Sometimes the weather conditions and
the groundwater
and different things that affects it, even that causes it to vary with a high and low.
Correct.
And so on and so forth. But the idea that there was something traumatic that is going on, the evidence, scientific evidence does not show that, correct?
It does not.
Okay. All right, John, thanks much, and happy Restaurant Week.
Well, Webbo, thank you so much for this opportunity that you've given to the Ministry of Tourism to let the general public know about Restaurant Week, and we look forward to the patronage of the general public.
That's the first segment, Thought That Get Results. Second segment, we'll be back right after these. We presented the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism in the Nevis Island Administration, Mr. John Hanley. We thank him again very much. The heavyweights will be in next.
Attention shoppers! Attention builders! It's happening now at Builders Paradise! Everyday low prices just got lower! That's right! Pay just 13% VAT or take a 4% VAT discount off or already unbeatable everyday low prices! Whether you're building, renovating, or upgrading, now's the time to stock up and save big on everything you need! Why wait? These savings won't last forever! Head to Builders Paradise today and experience even lower prices on everything you love! Builders Paradise, where low prices just got lower! Don't miss out! Shop now!
From Queen City, Nevis, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, Vaughn Radio.
Back with the second segment, this episode of Thought That Get Results. First segment featured Mr. John Hanley, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Nevis Island Administration, specifically highlighting Restaurant Week in St. Kitts and Nevis, slated to begin on the 17th of July, 2025. Now, this second segment, Roger Fifield, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to my fellow panelists, Naya. Of course, I want to say a special good evening to all those who are listening or viewing via the various medium. Good night to you. Webbo, I would like to say birthday greetings to all who are celebrating their birthdays and, of course, who are celebrating an event or anniversary. Wish that you are having a wonderful one. Also want to say, Webbo, special good evening to all those who might be hospitalized at this point in time. I want to say a special good evening to Daddy Shakes O'Neill Walters, my brother-in-law. He's in the hospital. Good evening to you, sir, and all those who are at the hospital at this point in time. Webbo, those who would have passed on, I want to say a special good evening to the family, the relatives, and the friends of who would have passed on, and to ask you to continue to pray. Ask God for comfort. He would and always be your pillar of comfort. So we ask you to continue to pray, as we ask all of us to continue to pray for those in the bereavement column. Webbo, this program, as I normally say, is that it's a program that belongs to the people. It's a program, interactive program. It's a program that we are urging persons to call in, give their input. We can learn something from you, and of course you can learn something from us. So I encourage you to call in while we have a wonderful discussion. Well, I'm looking forward, as per usual, for a fruitful discussion this evening. I want to thank you once again, Mr. Herbert, for inviting me to this wonderful program.
Conrad Naya Libert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to your hard-working staff here at the Powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, and to my colleague, Mr. Fifield, good evening, and to my friends in the international circle, friends in Toronto, Mr. Libert in Connecticut, Mr. Herbert there in Florida. I say welcome again to this program, interactive program that where we discuss the issues affecting the people home and abroad, and certainly there are issues affecting the people, and so we would like an interactive conversation. Always happy to be a part of the conversation, and I would encourage those who keep saying things to me on the road to call in tonight. I say brave up and call in, because seems a lot of people seem to have a lot on their minds, and there are times I am very skeptic and careful about speaking on behalf of what we, the feedback we get on the streets, and sometimes it's okay, but you like to be certain about what is going on before you bring it to the fore. Some people speak with such certainty, and so I encourage them to call in and let's discuss the issue. Webbo, I want to say thank you, and thank your hard-working staff here at Von Radio to invite me once again to this program. I expect a fruitful discussion. We're in the midst of quite an eventful time here in Nevis and the Federation, just after the music festival, the Mango Festival, and now we have the restaurant week, and sooner or later we will have the 51st anniversary of our Culturama, and so it's very much happening here, and I'm inviting everyone to be on Nevis this year, and to participate and to celebrate and to just be a part of what's happening here. It's a beautiful time of the year. It's the summermost cultural festival. It's very specific and very unique in its bearings. I don't think there is any like that across the Caribbean, and so I welcome you. Well, thank you once again for having me, and let's discuss the issues of the day.
Okay. What I want to do, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips here. I'm going to play them straight, as my tech people told me is probably only about 5 minutes worth. And I had learned about 2 or 3 weeks ago that one of this gentleman who used to always call into this particular show, and others, he was one of the great contributors to public debate in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I had gathered that he had passed away. And so sad to hear, so I thought, well, maybe our audience was not aware of it, and to pay a little sort of homage, a little tribute. So just remind people of some of the contribution he used to make. I don't know what content it is. I told my tech people, just get me something. And then if you gentlemen, I know you would know or recognize the voice, and maybe some of the contributions you wanted to, say a little something, that's fine. That's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to use the word "but" in that suggestion. With the dog license, we pick up a fund from all who have a dog. Well, I will put it this way. I would say, well, they raise the dog licensing fee so high that all dogs must be licensed, and the fee would be raised that high in case your dog happen to destroy anybody products, animal, or bite anybody. Because let's say Noyo has a Chihuahua, and that lives in Noyo's house. Then Noyo should only be responsible for licensing his dog, but not paying a fee, like you say, for dog because you have a dog. Because you got a lot of people have dogs out in the public. Some of them walking without a leash, and some of them have a leash. And those who have on a leash, when they see a cat or another dog, you should see how they pull in the owner because they want to destroy their dog. So like I said, I think the penalty for licensing dog, it should be so high that those who only raising dog to go fight and destroy other people's animals, they will back off from that thing. I just heard a caller say he asked in Mr. Culture and Mr. Politics a question. Well, let me answer that caller. I am Mr. Culture. I am not a PRO for no political party. I am an adjuster. ANJUSTR. And why I say that? I adjust wrong, which I condemn wrong. I adjust right, which I uphold righteousness. But my question back, I'm gonna answer him with a question. Do you have facts presented to me? This thing what happened that break up the, well, these are my words now, that break up the unity. It started a long time. And if they went into an agreement to be unified, as three parties come together as one, with genuinity in their heart, and sincerity in their heart to be a unificated party, it would have lasted. But they went in there with one purpose, and that was to get rid of Dr. Douglas. And they feel, well, after they get rid of Dr. Douglas, well, this is a chance now for me to get this position and that one to get that position. The last caller before me, I agree with him what he said. And now you have been saying a lot of things tonight here on the show. That now you saw them before they happen, and he's saying it like it is. Now, what they did, they pushed the cat all the way in front of the house. And then when they're done, they want to come back and put the cat behind the house and think the house can go. No, you don't cuss out a man. Mr. Stanley, you have a business. And if a customer come to you to buy gas, and each time they buy you gas, the car missing, what they're supposed to do is come back to you and say, well, Mr. Stanley, every time I buy gas here, my car is missing. And I think you need to check your pumps, water leaking in somewhere. Not go out in the street and a public address system and tell the whole world that your gas having water and don't go there, boy. You don't do that, you come and reason first. And in reasoning, and you don't get any satisfactory with the complaint that they brought to you. Then you go public. That's what the Bible says. Talk to the man in the church, the pastor, or whoever in the church behaving wrong. Call him by himself and talk to him privately. And if you continue, you call us a third person. And if you continue, then you go public. I want to send my sympathy greetings to the family of Mr. Amory and the whole of Nevis. He was a great man. He will be missing. He is missing. And he will be forever be spoken of. All because of the greatness of him. And he was a very, very contented person. He had to be a special person on this earth here. And especially as a leader. Because nowhere in the world you find a leader being found guilty of doing so many things and not even 5 minutes in prison. Not $1 fine. And he was found guilty of doing so many things, but they were all good things, great things, and he will be forever be spoken of.
Okay, gentlemen.
Yeah, Webbo, first and foremost, I want to say, condolences to his family, to the family of Culture, who you indicated would have passed. I'm not sure I was aware of it, but nonetheless, I think Webbo, he was a regular contributor to this program and other programs in the Federation. On Tuesdays, you would have listened, with some optimism in terms of hearing his voice every Tuesday night on the airways here at Von Webbo. And I recognize over the past few weeks and months, I haven't heard his voice. I really didn't know, so I want to extend, condolences, as I said. And Webbo, just the way he spoke, he was a man with great conviction. He spoke from the heart. You can hear the passion. You have this sense that whatever he said on the radio is what he meant, what is coming from deep down with him. He spoke to the dog. I think I can remember that program. There was something to do with dogs, but the basically, in my opinion, what he was saying is that to increase the licensing fees for the dogs, so that persons who are fighting dogs, which I believe is illegal here in St. Kitts Nevis, would desist from doing so because of the cost that's associated, that if it is increased would be associated with licensing such dogs. Webbo, he also spoke about the unity government, the tri-party, the Concerned Citizens Movement, the PLP, and the PAM, People's Action Movement. And he said a couple of things that, resonate with me. He said that the parties possibly came together for one purpose, let me use his word, and that was to get rid of Dr. Denzel Douglas. He said that if the parties were unified, he believed that the parties would have been together, I suspect, up to today. So he had his political views, and they were strong. Whether we want to, accept or believe his views, it's all up to us. Everybody would have their difference in opinion, and he had his. And the thing about it, Webbo, he wasn't one who was afraid to hear his views and let his views be known. And for that, he must be respected, and he would be remembered too. He spoke about Mr. Amri, and Mr. Amri would be remembered. He spoke and said that he never saw a man that was so guilty and never went to prison for one day. But what was the guilt? He was guilty of performing and doing so much good things based on what he said. As I said, some persons would disagree, but that was his saying what he said. And he was passionate. He spoke passionate about Mr. Amri, about his political views. He make reference to the Bible, and he said things should work out internally, as I believe that we all should do, even in our homes. If there's some dispute, I always believe, and even in the workplace, even in a particular department, I always believe that you should try to trash it out internally first before you go to the public. And I think that these are words of wisdom, words that we could all listen to and learn something from. And again, Webbo, I believe that he too, just by the fact that we are remembering him tonight, he too has gone down, as someone historical, someone who we would remember for a very long time. Also, as he said about Mr. Amri, he too has been remembered, and we would continue to remember him for his forthrightness and his contribution over the years, Webbo.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with you. Culture, I'm shocked to hear he's no longer. My heart, my condolences goes out to his friends and family. It's true that we haven't heard much about him recently, and I think it's a good gesture, Webbo, to play these clips from him, because he was such an outspoken individual, as he referred to himself as the adjuster. He adjusts what is wrong and make it right, or something to that effect. But he actually come across as a person who is quite fair-minded, regardless of what you may think of his opinion. From his point of view, I suppose he feels like he was a fair mind, and in many instances, I think he had a good sense of balance in terms of reasoning, and he always come to the fore with that. He's definitely missed from the social and political intercourse here in the Federation, because he not only called into this program, I think he called into every talk show in the Federation, and he was very political. I think he wanted the best for the island. He was very much a supporter of the Unity initiative, and I suppose he was one who thought that it was the best thing happen in the Federation politically. It was a time when Nevis, I suppose, thought it would be, it find itself on a good wave, but that proved otherwise. He made reference to that in a great way. He spoke to the privacy of issues and internal strife, and that must be settled in a private way, or attempted to be settled in a private way before it hit the public. And I think he was specifically referring to what went on in the Unity government. He said that the things that was wrong that came out was something that was brewing and was a part of the happenings even before it was brought to the public. He was talking about the things that destroy the Unity government, and he thought that it should have been discussed internally, as he made reference to the Bible, in that context, that things should be discussed privately before it hit the airwaves. I'm very moved to know that he's no longer around. I think things like that will happen, and we will be all surprised. I do hope that we continue to remember people like him, and to highlight his contribution. I think he was a spokesman for many people. He was one who was not afraid to speak, as we find so many people have so many things to say, and they are afraid to be a part of, open conversation, calling to, but he seems to have spent a lot of his money on his phone, just being a part of the debates and the various conversation, especially the political ones. As I say, my heart goes out to him. He was a good example, an example I wish a lot of people can learn from. His ways, I think, should be adapted. I want to enjoy a more vibrant democracy, that people can comment freely without fear and rancor, and I think that would only bring the best out of us. And I'm sure so many people have such beautiful ideas, politically and otherwise, and tend to keep it to themselves. And I always say the so-called intellectuals of the Federation must be a part of these conversations. And it's been said they are highly educated and went to higher school of learning, so there's an expectation that they probably would have some uniqueness in their thought, not always. And so I would always encourage people of intellectual nature to participate in these shows. I think Culture did that very well. And one thing about him, he had this bit of sugar to everything. He was quite a funny personality. It looks like he would be saying something very serious, but he'll put it in a way that maybe bring a laughter before a deep thought. And I think that's a good skill. That's a unique skill, because sometimes people will kind of delay getting upset with you when you speak like that. You know, you add some humor to very serious conversations. So culture, your legacy live on. To your family, we give thanks that you were able to do what you did, and you continue to inspire. I hope so. And a lot of the things you said, they are on tape, and I hope, you know, as time goes by, we can make reference to them, because, as I say, you were one who actually had an opinion on various issues, and at times quite a balanced one. And sometimes that's what we are looking for, not the feelings or the contemplation like you are a part of a gang or a clan or a tribe, but you speak truth to truth, and you call a spade. And I think out of that we will be a better society, and I think we will be more fair in every way, and more.
Naya, let me just take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Thank you very much.
Yes, he wanted to make a point this morning, so I told him to call tonight. So make the point you were making, sir. Hello? Hello? Yes, I was saying you wanted to make a point this morning. I told you to call tonight to make the point, so go ahead and do it. Okay, well, let me tell you the point, Naya, and maybe we can. You were finished, Naya? We could go on to something. Okay, so this caller called me and this morning, and I know Roger probably will like this topic. He called me this morning and he said that he thinks that the West Indies should go back and use some of them players from the past, maybe like Richards and Rowe and them and stuff like that, you know, and so on. So I find that it was an interesting point, and I thought it was a unique way to bring up that conversation. So, if I feel.
Well, I mean, it is no pleasure to sit here tonight and to speak about the West Indies.
Right, before you get all to that, I notice you are my Edric style, you know. You agree with him? No, I'm going to let you go ahead with what you're saying.
Not entirely, Webbo.
Okay, go ahead.
But what I'm saying, it pains me, Webbo, to sit here tonight and speak of the once great and mighty West Indian team. A team that growing up, Mr. Herbert, in the 80s and the 90s, you know, getting up like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, listening to the radio from Australia, the commentary and stuff like that. You know, I can recall when Keith Atherton was playing, Gus Logie was the vice captain, Atherton was making runs, you know. Atherton made 126 in one of the matches, one of the warm-up games, and Gus Logie, as vice captain, decided to sit out. Atherton came in won the test, and he made 100+ runs, you know, and you know the excitement and words just not coming. But when I was driving home yesterday, and I gave someone a lift, and they said 3 wickets are down without an additional run on the board. And I felt good because I know overnight Australia was, I think, 99 for 6. So I was like, okay, maybe it's now 99 for 9. Not realizing that the West Indies would have already bowled out Australia. And when I got home and I took out my phone and I went on, I believe that I saw 16 for 6. I was taken aback. I mean, it tore, you know, the pride and the joy that, you know, of our West Indian out of me. Webbo, I am not sure that these guys are representing us the best way they can. I am not sure these guys are playing for pride. Webbo, I looked at a documentary some months ago, and I shared it with some persons, where I think under the captaincy of Clive Lloyd some time ago, might have been against England, and the Englishmen had what they had to say in the press, and he said, shh, say nothing, we're going to talk on the field. And when those pace bowlers came out to bowl, they peppered them. One guy had all sort of bumps all over him. They showed it in the documentary, you know, and you see all these spots and the redness all over him. And, you know, it's a pride coming from colonialism, you know, under the English system, and how, you know, we were suppressed, so to speak. You know, this was a way of expressing ourselves, you know, on the cricket field, to show that we as a people, as a race, as a people, as a Caribbean people, we can rise. We must understand, Webbo, it is just in this context, I can say recently, that we had a black captain for the West Indies, you know. We were once captained by a white man. You know, the West Indies cricket team. Many may not know that. But Webbo, irregardless to what, I would still support West Indies. I go wholeheartedly. I'm a West Indian. I cannot support any other team. I'm really, really sorry, but we need to do better. I looked at an interview earlier today with Carl Hooper. Carl Hooper was one of the captains, one of the guys that captained West Indies over the years. He was a middle-order batsman, bowled a little off spin, and I think he might be on the management team of the West Indies too. And the question, the caption, he said, "I am angry, I'm upset." I mean, as a West Indian, how can we feel? How can we feel that we were bowled out for the second lowest score in Test history?
Which is what?
We were bowled out for 27.
Okay.
And if memory serves me right, the lowest score is 26. I mean, come on. How far is 27 from 26?
Okay, so walk with me. The guy mentioned, therefore, maybe we can remediate by bringing back some of the old guys. Mm-hmm. I am assuming that you agree with him, because in your example that you went, the extended example to make your point and make your case, you talked about Clive Lloyd, correct?
Yes.
You talk about who else?
Well, I talk about the Pacers.
The Pacers, right, and so on. So, you think maybe, based on the gentleman's point, you will bring back some of those guys?
Well, definitely. Maybe not for on-field, Webbo, because we understand.
No, but it's on-field. You lose out in the game, you know.
That is true, you know. But we must be real and realistic that some of these guys, you know, they
so they're likely will lose.
They have aged and
right. Walk with me. So if you bring back Lloyd and some of the Pacers and Rowan Richards and so on, mm-hmm. based on their physical condition, mm-hmm. they likely will lose.
Possibly.
Okay. This team
mm-hmm.
that just played 3 tests, mm-hmm. did they win?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I think I get your point, Webbo. You know, but because of the present age, we don't want to tarnish their reputation by bringing them back now at this age.
So you prefer to lose with the younger fellas?
What I would say, well, we would lose with them, and we would win with them, hopefully in time to come. But what I would say, I believe that these guys, they need to be sit down, maybe again, because I believe that would have happened before, and they need to understand the history of West Indies cricket. You
know a lot about cricket? You play cricket, Roger?
I play up to maybe last year
okay, good.
A little competition, a little with the Eastern's team, of course. That's my team.
No, right.
And
you ever know of a situation personally or heard of a situation in cricket where a particular team or batsman is so, let's use a local phrase, so hell-bent and winning that they tell the captain, I'm not coming back up here until I make 100.
Right.
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 Forgetting one thing when he goes down there, which is what?
He not bowling himself.
Okay, let's take this call. Good evening, thank you for please call back. Please call back and please be patient. Now you wanted to, I see
he's not
you're
bowling
hedging
himself, Webbo. But the question is, and it's just, well, not very, very recent, but since I've become what we call more mature, I realize how great the West Indies cricketers and the cricket team of the past used to be, the 80s and maybe the 90s and the 70s. Because when you look at where we are coming from and what we have or had as equipment, the fields and so forth in the Caribbean, and you realize what other countries may have had or have, Australia, England, New Zealand. These are rich countries and people who could afford to have the best to practice and so forth. So I'm asking myself the question, are we looking at an Australia, England or New Zealand team that has improved so much in ability and professionalism that it makes the West Indies cricket team look quite minute in that respect? Are we looking at that? Are we looking at a stagnation of the West Indies' ability and ableness to command the game as they used to? Are we looking at a stagnant situation and the advancement of these other countries? Or are we looking at something different? That the ability of the West Indies cricketers just is basically low, have fallen way beneath, the standard that was once set. Because as I said recently, I have looked back and I said, well, the West Indies was really, really a good team back then, because look at our stadiums, look at our parks. I mean, these guys come up playing in the streets, so much cushion break off in the foot when they're running up and down, playing in the pasture. And the cricketers from England, Australia and elsewhere had the best facility, the best grounds, and could hire probably the best coaches. But yet we used to beat them. So what have happened? Are we seeing a stagnancy in the West Indies' ability, enableness, lack of growth, and we are witnessing an advancement in the other countries? Or we are basically looking at a West Indies team that have fallen below standards? That's a question.
Yeah, I cannot answer it in one word, Naya. But what I would say about the West Indies team is the grit, the determination. When we look at the late 90s, early 2000s, coming up thereabout, when we were, heading downwards, so to speak, over the hill and coming downwards, the difference then is that we weren't bowled out for such low scores because we had a world-class batsman in Lara. I could remember in Pakistan, I think we lost 3-0, but Lara came out with centuries after centuries in the series. Now, what happened there? And if we understand cricket, we know that you cannot win a test match unless your team can take 20 wickets. You as a team, you must be able to take 20 wickets. What we would have recognized in this 3-match series against Australia, our bowlers have shown that they are capable of taking 20 wickets in a game. Now, when we look at Australia, the batting is very paltry. That is not the Australian batting of yesteryear. But when we compare, this last match ended in 3 days, less than 3 days. And yes, it looked bad to say West Indies lost in 3 days. But if we went and we applied ourselves, we would have looked good. Well, Australia would have looked bad because they would have lost in 3 days. Because that match heading into yesterday, which ended up to be the final day, could have won by either team on that particular day. But it's the application or the non-application of our batsmen that I think our bowlers have demonstrated to us that we have the know-how to get 20 wickets in a game. Our batsmen now need to come to the party and say to us and prove to us that I can bat, and I can bat for hours. Give us a little Shanjapal.
So it's not ability. It's
so that's one of the
application.
folks you will bring back, Shandapal?
I would bring back Shanjapal. I believe that Shanjapal was, pushed aside.
So I'm making my case that you do agree with the gentleman.
Yes,
Bring back some of the...
Yes, I would bring back Shanjapal.
If Ted were here, I said, Ted, how am I doing?
I would definitely bring back. I believe Shanjapal is fit enough. He's capable enough still. I would even bring back some may argue, and I believe that Keith Atherton has been underrated. When I look and I read and I see about these great fieldsmen of cricket, international cricket, and not even one mention of Keith Atherton. I mean, is it because he's from a small island? Keith Atherton was one of the best fieldsmen in international cricket. I know I may get a lot of arguments about it, but that is my opinion, and he has proven it. You didn't have 1, 2 fielders that could have fielded in the covers like Keith Atherton. Just like if you come back to Nevis, you didn't have a feeler in the gully like El Comido Willett. These are people that were specialized. I could remember one regional match. Vivi tell this guy feel at forward shot leg. He don't want to feel a forward shot leg. Vivi put himself there as captain, took a blinder, and then said, "Go there now," and you see how people feel. So sometimes you have to lead by example. I'm saying this to say, Ralston Chase is our captain, our new test captain, at age 33. Now, when we look at the composition of this team, they would have brought back Hope, who for some reason we turned him into a white ball player, and then we brought him back. We have brought back John Campbell. We debut Brandon King. And batting him in the middle as an opening bat. Now, what happened to Kareem Hodge? What happened to Alex Atherton? The West Indies Cricket Board, in my opinion, was looking at Alex Atherton as a future captain. They were also looking at the wicketkeeper from Trinidad, De Silva, as a future captain too. But what I'm saying, the thing that these guys, have, they are all in the 20s. Ralston Chase hasn't demonstrated. He lost his place in the red ball side. He hasn't demonstrated anything, in my opinion, over the years to merit being on the West Indies team. But he's not just being on the West Indies team. He is the captain. And if you are the captain, you are the first person to be picked. How can we have the first person who's to be picked cannot differently make the 11? And that is one of the problems. To me, we must pick the best 11. Pick the best 11 and then pick the best person from that 11 to lead the team. Because we cannot have someone as captain who would not merit a place in the first 11. And that is where the problem lies. The problem lies, someone must say, yes, give him a chance. He's only 3 matches old as captain, West Indies captain. Fine. That's everybody deserve a chance. But look at the application. Look at the way you're getting out. As a captain, how do you motivate your players on the field? How do you motivate them off the field? What spurs you on as a leader to ignite the others to do well? You know, I believe that these two young guys, I think both are from Dominica, I believe that they should have been part of the core. Let's build around these young fellas. Let's see what can happen in the next 3 to 5 years, short term to medium term. We can't look too far ahead, but let us look at the medium, the short term to medium term. But what have we done? In some corners, they are saying they are not discarded. Well, I guess it's how we use our words, how we twist and turn our words. But we don't have them in the setup. We don't have them in the 15-man squad. They are not around. You know, how would they gain their experience if they are not around the squad? And it doesn't even... I could remember when we were rooting for Stuart to go to Australia in '92. And we were saying Stuart should have gone to Australia to learn from Desi and those guys. You know, because those were experienced persons who you could have come in the team and learned something from. But if any youngster realistically to come into West Indies team today, who? Tell me one player that they're going to look towards to say, I want to emulate. Batsman we're talking about, we're not talking about bowlers. Which batter in the West Indies team currently, as a young person, you want to look up to as I want to emulate? When I used to go to school, I used to say, I'm Greenwich. Greenwich as a batsman, as a keeper, Dujan, me Dujan. You know, as a bowler, me Andy Roberts. You know, as a young man going to school. But no, you ask somebody in grade 6, somebody in first farm, who you want to be when you grow up? You know who they're going to say? They're going to say Lara. But look how long Lara stopped playing cricket. They may say Chris Gale. But, you know, those are players of the past. We are talking about current players. Who do we want? Who do we want to be? You want to be a Brathwaite who can't command his place in the 11? We want to be a Brandon King? We want to be who? A Ralston Chase? I don't know, Webbo, but I believe that we need to really do some introspection of ourselves and the players. And as Carl Hooper, what I deduced from Carl Hooper's conversation earlier today is that the coach must go. I mean, I'm a Sammy fan. I am a Sammy fan. But the point is, I believe that the West Indies Cricket Board would have put too much power in Sammy's hand. He's basically the chief selector. He's the coach, he's the chief selector, he's the bottle washer. He's basically everything. You cannot give one man. When that happens, like, you are the owner, you have ownership, so to speak. And if you have ownership, you must own up as a man. And if the results are not going in a particular way, then you must be answerable. And if you cannot answer as to why we are failing, then Sammy, I'm a Sammy fan, but bro, you know, you may just have to go. When we look at the US and we look at NBA basketball, the coach ain't up there in the field, but you lose. And you're gone. You're gone as a coach. You know, and maybe this too, you know, maybe it is time, Webbo, that we pay our cricketers based on performance. And, you know, it may work. Maybe it might have worked maybe 10 years ago, but it may not work now. You know why I say it wouldn't work now? I had a conversation recently.
Okay, just give me a second. Let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for
Hello,
holding.
good night.
Yes.
to you and your family.
Good
Yeah.
night.
The gentleman there, boy, he said a lot. And Webbo, everything he said. I don't know much about cricket, but I love the game. Everything he said, I hear shaking my head. I was the one who, some weeks ago, tell you about when he talked about the BBW payout and people save the money and whatnot. But I had to congratulate all that he said tonight. I'm here shaking my head to everything that he said. I enjoy listening to the gentleman talk. Man, I tell you, he talk about, and you see, he had a point by he saying that way back in the days, the ICC put pressure on the West Indies, telling them how to bowl from what not to bowl. Remember they used to ban bouncers, eh?
Yes.
Remember they used to ban bouncers. They used to tell you can't bowl X amount of bouncers.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of pressure on the West Indies team back in the days. The gentleman is so correct. You know what he's saying? I'm listening and I'm enjoying everything that he said. That's all I thought.
So I could ask you a question?
Thank you.
Hello? Hello? I wanted to ask him, do a kind of little check polling to see whether or not he will bring back some of the other fellas too. No, it told me that it's a serious point. But who was it? Go ahead.
Webbo,
Continue.
I was saying, Webbo, that, we probably need to pay our players based on performance. But right now, it may not happen. I was saying that I had a conversation with a gentleman. And he pinpointed one of the players, current players for the West Indies. And he said to me, you realize how this particular player getting out all the time? I do not believe this particular player really want to play test cricket. I believe that this player want to play white ball cricket and more so T20 where the money is quick and fast. And that could be one of what, really get us. And the reality is, Webbo, when we look at the Indian Cricket Board, England Cricket Board, Australia Cricket Board, they are much wealthier than us. And you would find that they would be able to have their players, be rewarded more than how we reward our players. When we look at the Indian Premier League, you realize...
Let me just take this again. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Hey.
About Darren Samuels, the head coach, right, of the West Indies team. I don't agree with what Carl Hooper is saying. But let me put the question to you guys. Is Darren Sammy the head coach of the bowlers as well?
Yes, he's the coach.
Yeah.
There's a bowling coach, but yes, he's the.
So he's the head coach of the whole team, the
Yes.
bowlers and the batters.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that the bowlers have been doing exceptional?
Yes, it has been proven.
So the bowlers has been doing exceptional and the batters hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the batting only, someone is going to say that the head coach should go. I can't understand that.
Can I ask a question or John analogy to you?
Yes,
Carla?
go ahead.
We are in a boat.
Yes.
Let's take a small boat, a canoe.
Mm-hmm.
And you are the captain.
Yes.
And we're going to divide the boat into batters and bowlers.
Mm-hmm.
And the bowlers are to the front of the boat and the batters are to the back. There is a hole.
Come in who?
There's a hole at the back of the boat, and there's a hole more central. The bowlers are taking out the water as quickly as possible But those to the back who are the batters, they are sluggish and they are going slow. And the boat is sinking slowly, and then the boat eventually sink to the bottom. Although those to the front of the boat were doing a really good job, the entire boat sank. And for some reason, they were way out in the ocean. Maybe some can swim, some can't swim. But the distance to shore is too far and not make it back to shore. Then what happens? Then they managed to keep the boat afloat, or did the boat sink?
The boat sank, but I still don't. I still don't see how you connect that to the head coach, though.
They lose.
Yes, they lose. And overall, when you're playing a cricket match, you play to win. So I agree with that as well. So, but I am saying still, though, I am still making the point that the coach, he coached the bowlers and the batters.
Yes.
And the bowlers has been doing exceptional. I don't even remember how long since West Indies bowlers has done what these bowlers are doing. So it tells me that that same head coach has been coaching the players. And I have to say, well, but how do you reconcile what you're saying with this saying now? That you can lead the horse to the pool, but you cannot make it drink. Because this is clear here, because the bowlers and the batters were led to the pool. The bowlers has been drinking. If the whole team was doing poorly, then I could see, but not in a case where you have some bowlers rooting over Australia like nothing. And then you come to tell me it is entirely the coach's fault.
Carla.
Yeah, I'll come off. Yeah, because you can't make that point to James and Jackson. So good night.
my friend, that's one of my friends, Webbo. Carla, what I would say, Carla, I spoke to leadership, and you have to find ways of, getting the best out of your team. Now, Carla, what I would say, Darren Sammy is the head coach. Darren Sammy, remember that he's basically the sole selector, chief selector, if you want to put it that way. So he determines who get picked in the 15-man squad. And then he and the captain in this setup would basically say who takes the field. So I am saying, and I am putting to you, as a bowler, a fast bowler, a medium pacer that Sammy was or is, maybe he has an eye for bowling. Maybe he doesn't have an eye for batting. So maybe he needs to be the bowling coach. Or is it that Ravi Rampal, a former fast bowler, who is actually the bowling coach, is doing a wonderful job with the bowlers? Probably yes. Probably it's the both of them. But what I am saying, it doesn't take from the fact that the boat sank. It ain't take from the fact that we lost. What I'm saying, right? If the setup was like before, that the coach didn't have all these powers, then I might have agreed with you.
Okay, let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Webbo, and good evening to the panel.
Good evening.
Webbo, in my own humble estimation about this whole West Indies battle, right, Webbo, it's going to be a long time before West Indies develop any cricketer of test caliber. The reason is, Webbo, if you take all these guys, right, in our first class league in the West Indies, I mean, none of these guys averaging like 40 and above. If you can't average like 40 and above in your first class competition, where in the world you're going to be able to stand up as a batsman anywhere in the world in Test cricket. I mean, the fact of the matter is our batsmen are just not good enough for Test cricket. They're not good enough. I said that unapologetically. They're not good enough, but we are not good enough. And we have to face the fact. And I don't know where we're going to get top batsmen in the class of Lara, Richard and those guys. I mean, those ever seem to be long gone, and they're going to be longer gone because our guys are just not adequate enough to play Test cricket.
But let me ask you something, Carter. You think you mentioned Lara and Richard and guys. You think we should bring them back?
Yeah, I think they'll do a better job. They could even send for me too.
Okay. All
I think
right.
they'll do a better job. But honestly speaking, Webbo, our batsmen in the Caribbean are not ready. They are not ready to play Test cricket. Our bowlers, yes, the bowlers are holding their own and they're doing a very good job. But we will always lose because if the bowlers out on a team for 50, West Indies is going to make 20. And that's the fact of the matter. Alright? That's my humble opinion. Our batters are just already.
Okay.
Good night.
All right. You know, I find the discussion and the passion in West Indians in cricket and so on real. Because I guarantee you, were they to win the next 2 Test matches that they play, I know what the script will say. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Webbo, you know, I mean, we're all passionate. We are all passionate, and we are not just speaking because we can talk. We are speaking because some of it too is hurt and real hard facts that is coming out.
Let me take this. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, Mr. Herbert is me again. You know, I have to agree with what the previous caller just said. That is what I have been looking at for a long time. And some people are speaking as though is just in the recent time that we have been losing and talking about selection, who you should select. We have selected players up and players for possibly the last almost 30 years and have been losing. Well, we never lost and made 27 runs before, but we made 40 something. So I don't know that the problem is so much who you're selecting, because we have selected and selected. And as the previous caller just said, look at these guys' record in the local leagues and see whether you think they are really capable to play Test cricket. Let me tell you something. Yesterday I was in the bakery and a cousin of mine said to me, boy, the West Indies bowlers just root out Australia. I said, yes. I turned to him and I said, the 2 best batsmen in the West Indies team is Sharma Joseph and Azari Joseph, and we are going to make 19 runs. Mr. Willett looked at me, want to know if I'm crazy. Before I step out the bakery, the very first ball of wicket fell. I left the bakery and came home. And when I reach home, I see West Indies has 3 wickets down for no run. So you're telling me that is the coach. Good night.
Yeah, Webbo, I know that the coach don't go on field, but what I'm saying that he must be responsible. I'm still going to hold my point because he is the one that is selecting the team. Before you had like something like basically 3 selectors, maybe 4, maybe 5.
Okay, so the coach is responsible for selecting the team, so he must go because of the team he selected.
He must be held responsible.
Right. Okay. So you think perchance he had selected some other players out of the pool, they will win? Good evening. Thank you for holding. You can answer afterwards. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Yeah, Webbo, very, very interesting topic tonight with this cricket. But
you want to turn your radio or whatever it is down, please?
Yeah, moving away from it. The cricket.
Hello? Hello? Look like you move away from the phone. Maybe that's the light moment for the night. Okay, caller, please call back. We'll await the caller as they call back, but...
Well, I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm not one who's adverse.
It seems as if he's getting back now, so let's try. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, Webbo.
You moved away from the phone?
No, I have the phone on the hand still.
Okay, go ahead.
Coach, we've been hearing a lot about coaching, and I believe too much emphasis has been put on coaching because in the past we grew up and they can say overtime days gone and this is the modern days. But we used to hear people who were Kanai, Sobers, Richards, even Lara, and we never heard that they had coaches around them like we have today. Seems as though the more coaches we have, the more things are getting backward. And I believe players coming up on their own as we did in the past, have performed better, they take the responsibilities on themselves to go there and improve themselves. But when you're depending on a coach, and a coach is going to tell you something which is against your natural instinct and so, things don't work out well. And with Sammy as the coach and captain and whatever else he is, there are many people above Sammy who have performed extremely well for the West Indies. And the reason that they are not there in the West Indies setup is something that probably they don't want to be. So you can't really be blaming Sammy for being this and that and the other, because I'm sure they would have likely pick Sobers, Richards, and all of these guys who have a very, very Michael Holding and these guys. But they are not there, and there has to be a reason why they're not there and why they had to turn to Sammy and probably give him all these positions because nobody has won them.
Caller, I could ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
We have a sort of thing that I'm sort of pursuing to find out, people's view on a particular matter. A fellow suggested that maybe we should use some of those same greats that you talk about to play now. What do you think?
Well, if they want to.
If they would like to play, then
I don't think they will be able to perform.
So you think, walk with me, so you think if we use some of those greats, we likely will lose?
Definitely we're going to lose. That's
walk with me, and right now we're definitely losing.
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's it, caller?
Well, yes, that's it for now.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Sounds like no way out. No, I want you to continue because I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm not one who knows the ins and outs.
Let me just take this. Good evening, thank you for holding.
Yeah, Webbo, it's me again. The brother man there saying, Sammy. Sammy is not going out here batting. You must have the talent to play cricket at this level. The coach will guide you and give you words of wisdom and inspiration and try to make you perform. But at the end of the day, you have to have the talent. You have to go there and back the talent. You have to be able to bat. Don't say about because the team lose. The best enemy making the ones for fitness and you want the coach. What is the coach? If you bring in an ex-coach, you're going to be the same thing. You're going to be best men. They are just not ready. And we got to accept that fact. That's the weird thing about the matter. You could bring 10 coaches, you could bring 1 million coaches, you could bring Lara, Richard, and Hooper to coach them. It ain't going to make no difference if you don't have the talent. It's just not good enough. If averaging 20 and 15 in our first class league in the Caribbean, you're not up to the standard to play test cricket. And that's the fact of the matter. Stop talking about Sammy. Alright?
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright. Just go ahead.
Webbo, as I said earlier, I'm a Sammy fan. But when you are in certain positions, you must be held responsible. Now, I understand the fact that we may not be up to a certain level in terms of our batting and the pool that we have. But as a leader, you must have seen the talent in someone like Alex Athanaze. You must have seen the talent in someone like Kareem Hodge. And I am saying these are young players. They are younger players than the John Campbell, than the Brandon Kings, than the Chase. And I am saying that we must have a plan. What is the plan? Is it to win Australia in this series?
What do you think the plan? Let me hold this. Let me take this, sorry. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening. The last call, it could never be the same thing. How it can be the same thing? As the gentleman said earlier, Sammy weighing too much hard. If you have a court for bowling and a court for batting, we could do the same thing. Let everybody take their part. As the gentleman said earlier, I have to call back. I'm listening, and the last call was saying it's going to be the same. It can't be the same thing.
Yeah, but
I concentrating on my batting, you concentrating on your bowling. How we can be the same thing? Anyway, thanks.
okay, go. Thank you. Go ahead, 5 feet.
Yes. So, what I was saying, Webbo, is that we must be held responsible. We have what is the plan? Yeah, back to it. What is the plan exactly? We have to map out a plan and work towards the plan and give the guys time. You spot the talent, and not just talent in terms of batting, but you spot leadership talent. Now, if you are looking for Alex Anthony to be a West Indies captain, get him in the 15, even if he's not in the 11. Because what I'm saying, look at cricket and cricketers. You're going to bring back a man who cannot demand a place in the 11 at age 33 to be your captain. What happened to long term? What happened to 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? And if you believe that he's so good at captaincy, bring Alex Athanaze under his wing then, so he could learn. That is what I'm saying. If we were losing with these two gentlemen in the mix, when we look at their average, all them basically averaging 20-something. And I ain't see exactly what these two young men sins are for them not to be in this squad. I am saying we might have lost, yes. We might have lost. But what I am saying, we have a chance to groom a young team. And yes, I know somebody going to say, oh, we would have been saying it over and over the years. But we could see the potential in these guys.
Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Webbo.
Yes.
And good evening to your panels. Good evening to all listening. Webbo.
I am thinking that your radio instrument is on, is loud, so I'm getting a little feedback. So
I'm outside where I can't even hear the instrument.
Okay, well, go ahead. Let's see.
Yes. Webbo, you don't talk a lot, right?
I do?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I get a lot out of what you say sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You remember saying, where goes the blame? There goes the shame. Where goes the fame? There goes the shame.
Where goes the glory must also go the shame.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I learned something from you. And that is with me. The idea. Okay, I said that to say this. Could I engage Roger for a bit?
Yes.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Fifield.
Yes.
You said that Darren Sammy is the coach, the head coach.
Yes.
He coached the batsman.
Caller.
Yes, sir.
Caller, I just got a very unique light moment.
Uh-huh.
Can I share it?
Sure.
You recall me telling you you probably have an instrument that we're getting a feedback or something?
Uh-huh.
I just was told what the problem is.
What was the problem?
It's a cricket. And what are we talking about?
Yeah, I got some loud. People keep calling them cricket, but I found out there's three frogs.
Well, let's just use our local thing. It's a cricket.
Yeah.
Because they find, so they're, weighing in on the conversation about cricket. Go ahead.
Okay, yes. So, Roger, I was asking you, you said Darren Sam is a coach.
Yes.
He coached the bowlers?
He is the coach.
He coached the bowlers?
He coached bowlers, batsmen, wicketkeeper, fielders.
Okay.
Well, by way of information, they have a bowling coach.
Yes.
And I also would guess that they also have a batting coach.
Where I'm going with this, Webbo, is if the bowlers are doing well and you said, yeah, well, Sammy got it down, whether they have a bowling coach or a batting coach, Sammy has the handle on them both. And the buck stops with him.
Yes.
So, if at the end of the day they lose the game, it's in Sammy's purview to look and see where he went wrong, where it went wrong, and correct it. I heard you talk about a documentary earlier. That's one of my favorites. I have that bookmark. I think it's the one that they call Fire and Steel. Tells you about the Australians, Dennis Lillian and his crew, who used to reap fury on the West Indies team. And 1 year, Clive Lloyd said he's having no more of that. Came back to the West Indies and he prepared a 4-pronged pace attack. And when some of the bowlers down there talking to the journalists saying, you know, make them grovel. When they were groveling, I didn't hear them. They show you some pictures of some of them with the bruise marks and all that. Then they came down on the West Indies team. And what I understand from that is that they always say cricket is a white man's game. So when Clive Lloyd took the handle and took the game back, they took to the rules, changed the rules to suit themselves. They put all sorts of restrictions in. And we just have to rebound, recoil, and come again. It's going to take a lot, but there were times before when we were losing. There were times when we got the better of them. Now we're losing again. We got to put ourselves down, put our heads down, and find out where we're going wrong and deal with it. That's my take on it.
All right, thank you. Yes. Go ahead.
You know, Webbo, a thought just came to mind. And as a youngster growing up, you know, playing, you know, a really youngster coming up, you know, between Lewis Newton and those guys. What I used to see those guys used to do, they used to bat with one pad on. And it's not that they didn't have the other pad, but that was done specifically for them to concentrate, for them to keep the eyes on the ball. Because, you know, if you are coming in, and it wasn't a spin bowler, you know, if you are coming in at a pace and you are not keeping your eyes on the ball, what could happen if the ball hit you on your shin? So maybe we need to resort to some of those. And the thing about it, to Webbo, we have all sort of pads, chest pad, thigh pad, you name it. Before times, we never had those. So we had to keep our eyes on the ball and play each ball and its merit. Now, I listened to an interview with Richie Richardson some time ago. And if I'm not mistaken, he said something about the hook shot. And we know that he's very famous for the hook and the pull. One of the better pullers of the cricket ball over the years. And he was never adept at it. He was never good at it. And he spoke to someone and he said, yes, well, this is what you'll have to do. And, you know, he decided, well, he's going to take it on. And then he developed over the years to become one of the better hookers and pullers. Well, when we look at Vivi Richards, a man who have never worn a helmet, you know, it is saying something to the level of confidence that he had in himself as a batsman. It says something. You know, in today's game, you wouldn't find a batsman going down to face a pacer unless he has on a helmet. I mean, the rules have changed so much. We hear about concussion and whatever. When we look at it at a different angle, Webbo, how are we preparing our pitches? What are we preparing our pitches for? How do we prepare our pitches? if we want to advance and to come to international standard, to the Australians, the English, the Australians, the New Zealanders and stuff like that.
Roger, you're not suggesting that we change the pitch when they go to bat, and you're not suggesting.
No. I'm talking about you know, in our regional tournament. You know, how do we prepare our pitches? You know, do we maybe send one or two guys, maybe, you know, maybe even in the subcontinent where it takes spin and stuff like that?
So we must prepare our pitches so that we can win, you mean?
But if you are on the home court, you prepare for the home court. I mean, somebody might argue and say, you know, across the board, yeah, you want good cricket. You really want good cricket. You want cricket to be the winner, yes. But, you know.
So you work with me. So you want to prepare some pitches so that the people who you play against can play on those pitches?
I'm not saying that.
Okay, what are you saying?
What I'm saying, we in the Caribbean, I believe, for far too long, have been preparing pitches that I dare say are not at a standard for us to learn and to advance ourselves with at the pace that we are to.
Okay, let me ask you this. This test series, whose pitches are we playing on?
We are playing on our pitches, and this
okay,
is what I'm saying.
work with me. So the same pitches that we normally prepare to play on, we're playing on them.
Mm-hmm.
So we are preparing pitches that we can win on.
Well, it's obvious.
You know, listening to the conversation, what I've deduced is that the people are saying that the batting talent is not present, it's not there. The ability is not there anymore. And so we probably have to, I suppose if you ask El Comido Willie the question, he will just say, we need to play more cricket. Just play cricket, as we used to play a lot of cricket. And I think the infiltration of other sporting activities and the sport in general in the Caribbean have contributed to the lack of expert or good batsman as we know them back in the days, you know, because back in the days it was just cricket. Now we have so much other things that we're playing with, you know, and I suppose somebody like Elko Miro would tell you, look, just play more cricket, and out of that, I suppose we will see shining talents again. I'm not sure if it's the pitches, I'm not sure if it's the coach, but it looks to me like we need to discover new talents and develop new talents, it looks like, which is going to take a time, it sounds like, because what I've deduced from the conversation, you and the callers, is that our batting talent doesn't exist on that level as it used to be anymore.
Okay, I was part of a conversation years ago on cricket, and it was as boisterous as this conversation. And as usual, I listened carefully, and then I made basically one contribution I had to make. I heard a fella argue that we need future players, right? And he's arguing. I told him, well, you know what the problem is, right? You have future players, but what we need right now is present players. So we have a great debate talking about the past players. We have a great debate, part of the debate, talking about the young people and the future players. But right now, we need the present players, because that's what we are doing right now. That makes sense?
It makes sense. But you know, in international sports, sometimes a World Cup may come. We talk in terms of football, and a team may represent, say, England, and they know they're not going to win, but they're more looking forward to the next World Cup. And I suppose that might be the best approach in terms of developing players, because they're not going to just show up overnight.
So that's if that is your approach, Naya, what are you balling for right now? You know that you will lose.
The truth is,
But-
Roger is balling, I'm not.
When I say you, I don't mean you personally. So you know you go in because your time when you're going to win, is the next 4 years.
Yes.
Yes. I just wanted to put in here that I was looking at a discussion, might have been last evening on television, and they were talking about, everybody's now trying to assess in the U.S. Politics and all that, the Democrats, how are they going to rebound? What's the best way? What's the strategy and stuff like that? So they're talking about this lady who I admire immensely. And she said to them, the Democrats have to find their way back. And what we need to understand, that before we had power, we had each other. Start there and get back to power. Think about that.
5 feet, think about it.
Yeah, it's true, Webbo, and we definitely need to support, to continue. As I said earlier, we need to continue to support. I still support the West Indies. I still, when persons would say, you waste your time, I listen to them there and you're not going to lose, I can't help it. Whether win, lose, or draw, I'm going to continue to support the West Indies team. And, we are going to be passionate. We are going to have our differences, but we need to continue and let them know that we are speaking because we want them to do better. It's not so much of maligning them or anything like that. It's just that we are speaking of what we see and we believe that they can do better, and we are hoping that they would do better. Now, you spoke moments ago about, I guess, a lot more sporting activities, games are now, But what I would say is, permit me to use you. I know you wouldn't mind. You are a welder. And you've been a welder for a number of years. But look, over the recent past, how many other opportunities in terms of jobs would have come to the fore? But you are one of the better welders on island, and I dare say in St. Kitts Nevis. Why? Because you understand and you recognize that that is your job. And if that is your job, you would not get distracted because now an accountant position comes up in some office where you're going to be working under AC. Now, having said that, the cricketers have to understand, hey, this is my job. I have to work and apply myself in order for me to get better at what I'm doing and to maintain my job. Some of these cricketers have families, to feed. And they have to understand that, and you don't have to easy come, easy go. 2020, enough money, and then you go. The 5-day cricket test, the cricket is based on application. You could bat for a whole day and don't make a century. But it is the application, how you wear down your opponents in the field. The sun is shining hot. You don't want to go back out in the field to field while they bat. So you bat. You're in the sun, yes, but you get the better end of it. Let them run up and down to the boundary. Let them sweat. So when the time comes to bat now, they are physically tired and mentally tired. It's a mind game too. Even if you are not making runs, you don't have to try,
So what do you suggest?
Application.
Is it just application?
We must be able to apply ourselves. We must be able to concentrate for hours. This is not a 2020 game, a 4-hour match. This is a game that is over a 5-day period. Simple means that you might end up in the field for 2 days, 2.5 days, 3 days maybe. So you have to understand that, hey, I'm going to...
So there may be some psychological coaching is necessary. Is that so?
That too.
Yeah.
That too, of course. That too.
Caller, good evening. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, good evening, Webbo. Gentlemen, I don't really know nothing about cricket. I don't watch cricket. I don't listen to cricket. But back in the day, during Vivi Richards and those guys, you had two formats of the game. You had the test match and you had one day. And then you had the red ball. So that was all they were focusing on. Red ball, one day, test matches. Now you have red ball, white ball, and God knows whatever other color there is. And they are different short versions of the game, right? So maybe the youth of today, maybe the cricketers of today, they are a little confused about which part of the game they should be focusing on. They're caught between a rock and a hard place, so they don't know exactly what format of the game to focus on. So maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Okay, very quickly we think, but so you think that the Australians use a different color ball?
I don't know. Like I said,
you don't know.
I don't watch cricket. I don't know.
Well, you don't know. So let me just quickly tell you, they use the same color balls.
Okay, so what's the problem then?
I don't know, but we will talk. Okay, let me give this person 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah. Raja?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you just struck at a very good point there. You know, you might not have used the word, but, IQ. Being able to think smart, I believe, is part of the problem.
True.
Okay. All right, caller, we got to go. Who's got the last word?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Webbo, I really enjoy this topic this evening, and we spiked the interest in the listening audience, and they called, and we really appreciate it, Webbo. I think that for the other topics, they should participate just the same.
That's the last word. This program repeats tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keats Carbo at 8 o'clock on Thursday evening for Government at Work, a place where you can spend all your evenings right here in the Eastern Caribbean Spa House. Thank you all again for joining us. This is your voice in the community, thought that get results. You all have a wonderful evening.
The views and opinions expressed in the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertiser.